The atmosphere in Shenzhen already felt different before Zhang, Linghe and Tian Xiwei even appeared. There was that unmistakable sense of anticipation that happens when fans know something special might be about to unfold, when cameras are already raised, phones are recording, and every movement around an event entrance suddenly feels important. The Lancôme Shenzhen event was filled with the kind of polished glamour expected from a major luxury beauty appearance, but underneath all the lights, fashion, cameras, and carefully arranged moments, there was another kind of electricity moving through the crowd. Fans were waiting, watching, wondering, and hoping for the possibility of seeing Zhang, Linghe and Tian Xiwei together. Then, as the moment approached, the energy seemed to shift completely. What had been ordinary event excitement suddenly became something much more intense, because the appearance of two familiar faces in the same space can create a reaction that no stage production can manufacture. When Zhang Linghe came into view, the cameras immediately seemed to follow him. His presence carried that calm, polished confidence that makes even a simple walk toward an event feel cinematic. Dressed for the occasion and surrounded by the atmosphere of the Lancôme venue, he looked completely at home beneath the bright lights and flashes. Yet the most fascinating part was not simply his appearance. It was the reaction surrounding him. Phones rose higher, fans leaned forward. Every tiny movement became something worth capturing. People were not just watching a celebrity arrive at an event, they were trying to preserve a moment that might disappear within seconds. In a world where red carpet appearances can pass almost instantly, a FANCAM becomes something more personal. It captures the movements between the official photographs, the expressions that may last only a fraction of a second, the way someone turns their head, the way they acknowledge the crowd, and the little details that polished event footage can sometimes miss. And then Tian Xiwei appeared, bringing an entirely different energy into the scene. Her presence immediately added another layer to the atmosphere, because fans were no longer watching a single star move through the event. They were watching two highly recognizable personalities occupy the same environment, and that alone was enough to make the crowd react. The cameras seemed to become even more active. Every angle suddenly mattered. Every glance appeared to carry significance. Every moment when their paths seemed close became something fans wanted to replay. This is the magic of a full FANCAM. It does not simply show the official version of an event. It allows viewers to experience the atmosphere as though they were standing there among the crowd, feeling the excitement build in real time. There was something almost surreal about watching the two of them in the same Lancôme setting. The luxury branding, the lights, the photographers, and the carefully designed surroundings created a glamorous backdrop, but the human reactions were what made the moment memorable. Zhang Linghe and Tian Xiwei did not need a dramatic announcement to capture attention. Their presence alone was enough. Fans began searching the frame for every subtle interaction, every natural reaction, every moment that looked spontaneous rather than planned. That is where the excitement truly came from. Official event appearances are often carefully structured, but fans are always fascinated by the moments that feel less controlled, the seconds where celebrities simply react naturally to what is happening around them. As the cameras continued recording, Zhang Linghe carried himself with an understated composure that made the surrounding chaos seem even more dramatic. There were flashes everywhere, voices in the crowd, movement from staff, photographers adjusting their positions, and fans trying to capture the clearest possible view. Yet amid all that noise, there were moments when his expression appeared noticeably calm. That contrast made the footage even more captivating. A huge crowd could be completely overwhelmed by excitement while he remained composed, creating a visual tension that kept drawing attention back to him. Tian Xiwei brought another kind of warmth to the atmosphere. Her expressions, her movements, and the way she interacted with the environment gave the event a lighter and more lively feeling. Fans were watching not only because of her appearance but because she seemed to bring personality into every second of the footage. That is why FANCAMs can become so addictive. They allow viewers to notice details that might be missed during a quick official appearance. A smile that lasts only a moment suddenly becomes a screenshot. A small turn toward the crowd becomes something fans replay. A brief change in expression can lead to endless discussion. None of these moments necessarily need a dramatic explanation. Sometimes the uncertainty itself is what makes them fascinating. And as Zhang Linghe and Tian Xiwei were seen within the same event environment, the online excitement surrounding the footage seemed almost inevitable. Fans who had been waiting for any opportunity to see them together suddenly had something new to analyze. Social media discussions can move incredibly quickly when two popular stars appear in the same frame, especially when viewers feel that the footage contains something different from a standard promotional appearance. People begin slowing down the video, comparing angles, noticing reactions, searching for tiny details, and sharing the moments that stand out to them. A few seconds can become an entire conversation. What makes this particular appearance so compelling is the atmosphere surrounding it. Shenzhen provided a vibrant backdrop, while Lancôme gave the occasion an unmistakable sense of elegance and prestige. The combination created a setting where every entrance, every camera flash, and every movement felt amplified. Zhang Linghe's appearance carried the refined energy of a major luxury event, while Tian Xiwei's presence added another emotional dimension that immediately captured attention. Together, they created the kind of visual pairing that fans naturally find difficult to ignore. There is also something deeply fascinating about the difference between seeing celebrities through official promotional material and seeing them through a fan's camera. Official footage is often flawless, perfectly framed, and carefully edited. A FANCAM can be imperfect. It may shake slightly. The angle may change unexpectedly. Someone in the crowd may briefly block part of the view. But those imperfections are exactly what make it feel real. They remind viewers that this was not a scene created solely for a camera. It was a real event happening in front of real people, and someone happened to capture a piece of it. That sense of authenticity becomes especially powerful when Zhang Linghe and Tian Xiwei appear within the same visual space. Fans naturally become curious about their reactions to one another, but it is important not to turn every glance or movement into proof of something that has not been confirmed. What can be appreciated is the visible atmosphere itself, two celebrated performers appearing at the same major event, surrounded by fans and media, creating a moment that people clearly found exciting. The emotional reaction belongs to the viewers, and that reaction is part of what makes celebrity event culture so fascinating. As the FANCAM continues, there are moments where the surrounding noise almost seems to fade into the background. Zhang Linghe's expression changes subtly as he takes in the environment. Tian Xiwei moves through the event with her own distinctive presence. Cameras continue flashing. Staff members move around them. Fans try desperately to keep both stars within the frame. For a viewer watching from far away, it can almost feel like being transported into the crowd. You can imagine the sound of hundreds of voices rising at once, the sudden excitement when a celebrity turns in the direction of the fans, and that brief feeling of disbelief when the person you have been waiting to see is suddenly standing only a short distance away. The emotional power of these moments comes from their fleeting nature. A celebrity appearance might last only minutes, but fans can remember a single second for years. The reason is simple. Anticipation changes how people experience time. Before the stars appear, every second feels slow. Once they arrive, everything moves too quickly. Fans try to record everything, but there is never enough time to capture every expression, every movement, every angle. That is why full FANCAMs become so valuable. They preserve the sequence of the experience instead of reducing it to a single photograph. And there is something particularly captivating about watching Zhang Linghe and Tian Xiwei exist within the same event atmosphere without needing a manufactured storyline. Their careers have already created enormous interest among viewers, and seeing them together naturally sparks curiosity. Fans can enjoy the visual chemistry of the moment without needing to decide what every detail means. Sometimes the most memorable celebrity moments are the ones that remain open to interpretation, allowing viewers to experience the footage emotionally while still respecting the difference between what is visible and what is merely speculation. The crowd reaction adds another layer to the story. Whenever Zhang Linghe becomes visible, the attention around him appears immediate. Whenever Tian Xiwei enters the frame, the same excitement follows. But when the two are connected within the same event footage, the energy becomes something else entirely. Fans begin watching with greater intensity because there is now a possibility of capturing an interaction that might not appear in official photographs. A simple shared frame can become more exciting than a carefully posed promotional image because it feels spontaneous. The Lancôme setting itself only heightens that feeling. Luxury events are built around visual beauty, but beauty alone does not explain why certain moments become unforgettable. It is the combination of atmosphere, personalities, timing, and emotion. The bright lights make every expression visible. The cameras turn ordinary movements into memories. The crowd creates pressure and excitement. And the presence of two stars who already attract enormous attention gives the entire scene an emotional charge. For fans watching the footage later, there is another fascinating experience, discovering moments that were missed the first time. On the initial viewing, the excitement can be overwhelming. Viewers notice the arrival, the outfits, the crowd, and the overall atmosphere. But when they return to the footage, they begin noticing smaller details. They watch how Zhang Linghe responds to people around him. They observe Tian Xiwei's expressions more carefully. They look at the timing of movements and the reactions of people nearby. The second viewing becomes different from the first, and the third can reveal something else entirely. That is how a short event appearance can become an emotional journey for fans. It begins with anticipation, rises into excitement, and then transforms into curiosity. The viewer is no longer simply asking what happened. They are wondering what they might have missed. They replay, they pause, they compare, they look again, and somewhere in that process, the event becomes more than a few minutes in Shenzhen. It becomes a shared fan memory. There is also a beautiful contrast between the public nature of the event and the private emotions viewers attach to it. Zhang Linghe and Tian Xiwei are surrounded by cameras, but fans still search for personal-looking moments. A smile can feel intimate even when it happens in a crowded venue. A glance can feel meaningful even when thousands of people are watching. A moment of laughter can make a massive luxury event suddenly feel surprisingly human. This is one of the reasons celebrity culture continues to fascinate people across the world. Viewers are not only interested in fame. They are interested in personality, emotion, and the possibility of seeing something genuine behind the polished public image. Throughout the FANCAM, the atmosphere continues to shift between glamorous and spontaneous. One moment feels like a perfectly staged luxury campaign. The next feels like a candid glimpse into a real environment filled with excited fans. Zhang Linghe remains magnetic beneath the lights, while Tian Xiwei adds an expressive energy that naturally draws attention. When they appear within the same sequence, the footage becomes especially compelling because viewers instinctively want to know what will happen next. That anticipation is perhaps the most powerful element of the entire moment. Nothing needs to be exaggerated. Nothing needs to be invented. The simple question of whether the camera will catch another shared moment is enough to keep viewers watching. Will they move closer? Will they turn in the same direction? Will they acknowledge the crowd at the same time? Will the camera capture a smile or reaction that official footage missed? The uncertainty creates a quiet suspense that runs through the entire FANCAM. And when a particularly beautiful moment appears, it feels almost like a reward for all that anticipation. The crowd reacts, the camera shifts, and suddenly both stars are visible again. For fans, that brief image can feel surprisingly emotional. It is not necessarily because something dramatic has happened. It is because they have been waiting for that exact visual connection. In a world where celebrity appearances are carefully scheduled and often separated by different commitments, simply seeing two beloved performers sharing an event can feel special. The Shenzhen appearance also reminds viewers how powerful live celebrity moments can be compared with photographs. A photograph freezes one expression. A video captures movement, timing, atmosphere, and reaction. You can see the seconds before a smile and the seconds after it. You can observe the surrounding environment and understand how quickly everything is happening. That makes the FANCAM feel almost like a time capsule. It preserves not just how Zhang, Linghe and Tian Xiwei looked, but how the entire moment felt. For the fans who were physically there, the experience must have been even more intense. Imagine standing among a crowd, hearing people react around you, trying to see over raised phones, and then suddenly realizing that the stars you came to see are right there. There is barely enough time to process the sight before instinct takes over and the phone is lifted to record. The resulting footage may last only a few minutes, but behind every second is an emotional experience that cannot be recreated. And for fans watching from home, the FANCAM creates a bridge between distance and memory. They may not have been in Shenzhen, but through the footage they can experience fragments of the atmosphere. They can see the lights, the crowd, the movement, and the stars themselves. They can share reactions with other fans who are watching the same moment. In that way, a single fan-recorded appearance becomes something much larger than the original event. What makes the Zhang, Linghe and Tian Xiwei appearance particularly memorable is the balance between elegance and spontaneity. Lancôme provided the glamorous setting, but the fans provided the emotional energy. Zhang, Linghe and Tian Xiwei brought their own individual presence, while the cameras captured everything unfolding around them. The result was a moment that felt polished enough for a luxury event but natural enough to inspire genuine fan excitement. As the footage continues toward its later moments, the intensity does not necessarily disappear. Instead, it changes. The initial shock of seeing them gives way to appreciation. Viewers begin noticing the atmosphere more carefully. The expressions become easier to appreciate. The event begins to feel less like a sudden surprise and more like a beautiful memory unfolding in real time. That emotional transition is what makes a good FANCAM so powerful. It begins with excitement but ends with a feeling of having witnessed something worth remembering. There is no need to force a dramatic explanation onto every interaction. The beauty of the footage is that viewers can appreciate what is actually there. Zhang Linghe appeared at Lancôme Shenzhen. Tian Xiwei appeared in the same event environment. Fans reacted with enormous enthusiasm. Cameras captured the atmosphere, and for those who love following their careers, that alone created a moment worth watching again and again. Yet the fascination does not completely disappear when the video ends. Instead, it lingers. Fans continue discussing the outfits, the expressions, the event atmosphere, and the moments that stood out. Some viewers will have their favorite frame. Others will focus on a particular reaction. Some will simply appreciate how stunning the entire event looked. And others will return to the FANCAM because they want to experience that feeling of seeing the two stars appear together all over again. Perhaps that is the real magic of this Shenzhen moment. It was not simply about two famous people attending a luxury event. It was about anticipation meeting reality. Fans waited for something exciting, and then their cameras captured a moment that gave them something to remember. The lights of the venue, the movement of the crowd, the flashes from photographers, Zhang Linghe's composed presence, Tian Xiwei's lively energy, and the constant excitement surrounding them all combined into a scene that felt larger than the event itself. Long after the cameras stopped recording, the emotional impression remained. Because moments like this are never measured only by how many seconds they last. They are measured by how strongly they make people feel. A brief appearance can create hours of conversation. A simple glance can inspire thousands of replays. A shared frame can become one of the most talked about moments of an event. And a fan recording can transform a fleeting public appearance into a memory that travels far beyond Shenzhen. The Lancôme event may have been designed around beauty, elegance, and luxury, but the most unforgettable beauty came from the atmosphere created by the people who were there. Zhang Linghe and Tian Xiwei brought their individual charisma into the same setting, while fans transformed every captured second into something emotionally significant. The cameras kept rolling because nobody wanted to miss what might happen next, and that feeling of anticipation is what makes the footage so compelling. Even now, the most interesting question is not necessarily what fans think the moment means. It is what the footage allows them to feel: excitement, surprise, curiosity, nostalgia, admiration, that little rush that comes when a familiar face suddenly appears on screen. The joy of discovering a moment you did not expect. The fascination of watching two beloved stars share the same environment. These emotions are real, even when the meaning behind individual gestures remains open to interpretation. And perhaps that is why the Shenzhen FANCAM feels so special. It captures something that official photographs cannot completely preserve: the movement of the moment itself. It shows the anticipation before the appearance, the reaction when the stars arrive, the shifting cameras, the excitement of the crowd, and the countless tiny details that make a live event feel alive. Zhang Linghe and Tian Xiwei were there beneath the Lancôme lights, surrounded by cameras and fans, and for those watching,